Good morning. Thank you for joining this section of Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Jak Teel, the Parks and Recreation Director here with the City of Cottonwood. Today I'm joined by Bruce Jurecki, the owner of Showtime Sportz. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Jak. How you doing?
Doing well, sir. Doing well. And with us in the studio today, we also have Travis Wilson, the Recreation Coordinator too for Sports and Fitness. Good morning, Travis.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Thank you, sir. How you guys doing today? Everything going good?
Yeah, doing great. Happy to be hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, always a pleasure hanging out with you, Bruce. We enjoy it. So today we got a couple things I'd like to talk about. We're coming to the close of 2021, right? And a lot of fun things, a lot of challenges happened in the year. So during this first segment, we're going to take a look at all the things that we did this year and all the opportunities that the community had. And then in the second segment, we'll kind of talk about which ones were our favorite. And as we close out the session today, we'll look into what we've got coming up and why people should get involved. So starting out, Travis, Parks and Rec, we do a lot of different things, a lot of different programs, a lot of different events, things like that. What are some of the things that we did as a department this year?
So this year it wasn't for sports-wise, as soon as kind of the mask mandate came off at the rec center, we were able to kind of jump in there and get volleyball going for adults. We did our vintage run a little bit later this year than usual.
Yeah, that's typically in April, and we had to move it to June this year, huh? And that was a lot of permitting issues we had there getting that done? Yeah,
we had permit issues with that, and then the run made it a lot hotter than it usually is, so kind of we spaced that out between the morning and the evening with runs, so we tried to avoid that middle time frame. We did an Easter egg hunt for kids and activities at the rec center. We did
and that one was a little different because usually we do our Easter egg extravaganza down at Riverfront Park, but because there were still the large gathering restrictions in place, we switched that up and we did an underwater Easter egg hunt at the Recreation Center this year too.
That one was really fun. We did it in the pool and kids came in there. And I remember we took my son and the kids would sit there and fight over trying to find, they had big prizes in some of the eggs, and those are the ones that the kids would fight over, try to find, and it turned out really well. We had a good group there. Yeah.
That one was a really fun event that year. I know Josh Fruin, who used to be our rec program coordinator over that stuff, had come up with that as a substitute event for our big Riverfront one. And then our first big one we really got to bring back full scale was our 4th of July event, our fireworks display, which is always a really fun one. And we had thousands of people turn out for that event. So that was really our first return to normal there. But we didn't just do community events. We had some larger special events, marquee events, we like to call them. What ones were we able to put on this year?
The big one that we did this year, we did the Thunder Valley Rally, and that was one that was missed from last year, which was very busy. We had a good turnout for that.
Yeah, it went really well. Thunder Valley Rally, we brought it back this year, a little smaller scale, but we were able to bring that back and have some fun. And then we also did Walking on Main in November, which was another really cool, fun one. And one of the other things we did is we put in Cottonwood's first park playground equipment in over 25 years this year at the Cottonwood Kids Park. So that was a really fun one as well. But the reason Bruce is here today is because we aren't the only one, Parks and Recreation's not the only one who puts on programs or events, right? Bruce, you and your team at Showtime Sportz do a lot of that stuff too. So what are some things you did this year?
Well, kicking off the year with you, of course, we had the Youth Basketball League. That was amazing.
And that was fun because we did it in Old Town. We switched it, we took it outside.
Yeah, I mean, COVID has, if anything positive out of COVID, it has made us think outside the box. So you guys did the Easter egg hunt, in the water and whatnot, and we had to do it in Old Town outside. Yeah. It was different, but it went great. The weather was kind to us, and we're actually gearing up to do it again here this February.
Absolutely, and so the Old Town courts, usually we hold our youth basketball program. When I say we, Parks and Recreation holds it, but because of the heavy restrictions we had on gym space during that time of year, you stepped up knowing that we weren't going to be able to do something this year, and Showtime Sportz put this together. What were some of the challenges you had to do moving the program outside as compared to doing it inside at a gym that's climate controlled and don't have to deal with the rainouts?
Yeah, obviously weather was a big concern, but like I said, it was good to us. I think one of the biggest challenges ended up being parking. Yeah. As you know, Old Town has some great restaurants and things to do down there, so the parking is very limited, especially on a Saturday. You know, so the parking, you know, the weather concerns, and we thought we'd be able to use both courts, but we could only use one just because the space was a little cramped, and we want to be safe and whatnot. But outside of that, everything really went smooth. You know, we went and bought some adjustable hoops that we could use out there, because the rec center has some that go up and down, but Old Towns don't move. So, and the little guys and girls, they can't get the ball up there. But that was it. It went really smooth.
Absolutely, and we certainly appreciate you guys stepping up. And I know the kids had fun. You guys got to do kind of all-star games. They all got their own jerseys, and you were able to add a flair to it that we in Parks and Recreation oftentimes aren't able to do. So again, thank you for stepping up. But that's not the only thing you guys do. You guys do all sorts of fun stuff throughout the year with Showtime Sports. What are some of the other things that we were able to do?
So we do. We brought our first football camp here this year, and that was fun. We had a good time out there. We're bringing that back with a little flair next year as well. And let's see, we do, you know, adult flag football. We do other things like that as well. And we're trying to bring more. We got pickleball coming. So for all pickleball fans, please come out there and show us what you got.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And I don't want to spoil it too much. We're going to make you guys tune back in our third segment as we talk about those upcoming programs. Within Parks and Recreation, we operate a lot of different things. I know, Travis, you did your adult softball league. Typically, we would do our volleyball camps, our basketball camps at the Recreation Center. Were we able to pull those off this year as well? Yeah,
this summer we usually do a week-long volleyball, and then right after basketball camp. And we had a great turnout this year. We had about 70 kids for the basketball camp and about 60 for the volleyball. And those, I mean, the kids enjoyed it. We had some great instructors helping them out, and it's always nice to walk away and get little letters from the kids. Thanks you for putting this camp on, and kind of made it a good turnout and a great camp to run. Absolutely. I love all the programs we do for the youth, specifically our sports camps, getting kids involved, but also around the holidays we do all sorts of stuff. Like right now we've got our Letters from Santa program going on at the Recreation Center with our magic mailbox. You drop off a letter, it mails it to the North Pole, and Santa gives you a letter, personalized letter back in response. And we have our angel tree. We've got Breakfast with Santa coming up here. On the 18th, December 18th, we got Breakfast with Santa at the Recreation Center, and lots of different cool, fun programs that we've been able to provide this year. Thank you guys for recapping those. We're going to take a quick break, and as we come back, we're really going to jump into what was your guys' favorite and why. So make sure you stick in and join us back here in a couple minutes. I'm your host, Jak Teel. This is another episode of Inside Cottonwood. We'll see you here in a minute.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.com.
Looking for a ride to Sedona? Hop on the new Verde Shuttle at the Cottonwood Library and go everywhere you want to go in West Sedona, Uptown, and south to Poco Diablo Resort. It's just that easy. Looking for a better way to commute between Cottonwood and Sedona? The Verde Shuttle buses are brand new. A cool, clean, comfortable ride for only $2 each way or $3 for an all-day pass. It's just that easy. Check out details at verdeshuttle.com or ask Google Maps for transit directions. It's just that easy.
Hi, welcome back, Cottonwood. This is another episode of Inside Cottonwood, and I'm your host, Jak Teel, the Parks and Recreation Director here with the City of Cottonwood. Today we're with Travis Wilson and Bruce Jurecki, and a couple minutes ago we briefly talked about all the different programs and events and different things that we had going on throughout this year. And now during the segment, I'd really like to take a moment and just reflect on what was your guys' favorite and why. I know for me I have a couple different favorites, but one that stands out most to me. But Travis, we'll go ahead and start with you. What was your favorite event, program, give back opportunity? What's something that you really just enjoyed doing over this previous year?
I think, like you said, it's hard to pinpoint one. There's, I mean, multiple of them. You can't go wrong with either one. But I would say kind of running that, helping with that basketball camp. I briefly mentioned before, it's always worth it when you get a little letter saying, thank you for doing this. You make a difference to people. And when you know you make a difference to them, that's kind of, that pushes you to keep doing it, to do more. Anytime you can kind of get the youth involved, you can see their progression, how much they can grow. It's something I'm sure Bruce is well aware with the Showtime Sportz, is you see them at level point B, they grow to point A. It's that progression that you see that kind of makes those worth it, and being involved in it is something there. But again, like you said, it could be any event. I loved Halloween, being able to see the community. I mean, there was a great turnout for there. There was times where it roped around the parking lot our trunk or treat, and just seeing how many people do come to those community events kind of make it worthwhile there, and kind of seeing that the difference you are making.
Yeah, and it really helped that we had good weather on Halloween this year. It wasn't terribly cold. I know you and I, we both had our trunk together, and we were the Prisoner of Azkaban, because the theme this year was Wizarding World. So we had built a gel cell, and you were the notorious Sirius Black. So that was a lot of fun. How many kids were there? I mean, every kid out there, whether they had a mask or not, was just beaming, smiling, having a great time. So yeah, I think you're right there. That was one of my favorite programs as well. Bruce, I mean, you guys do all sorts of stuff, whether it's here in Cottonwood or down in the valley or over in Prescott. What was your favorite thing as we reflect on some of those programs and events?
Well, like Travis said, it's hard to pinpoint one favorite. I mean, I enjoy every event that we do. And to touch on something Travis said too, I mean, to see a kid improve, you know, from the first day to the last day, and to see them grow and see them have fun and develop, I mean, that's the biggest smile that can be put on your face as a guy that runs it or a gal who runs an event. My favorite, I guess, would have to be probably the football camp we did here in town. I've been wanting to do one for a long time, and it went great. It went great. We had a good time out there. It was a good learning curve and a good stepping stone to get ready for next year and make some improvements and knock it out the park in 2022.
Yeah, awesome. I know a lot of those ones are fun. I myself am a big football fan, so I love seeing those football camps out there and doing all that stuff. And I know you're working on some other things we'll touch on here about doing some NFL flag and things like that. So I think there's only room to grow in that area, and it gives us an opportunity to expand what we do and gives our community an opportunity to get involved in all different types of things, whether they're doing the sports camps or whether they're getting involved in their programs or after school programs we have, or Cottonwood Youth Advisory Commission. There's a lot of things going on, and I would second the sentiment that you guys are putting out there, that watching the progression through those kids, whether it's in our swim lessons program where you got the kid who enrolls in lesson 1 and by the end of the summer they're cranking it out in lesson 3, lesson 4. Those are always great to see that growth and to be a part of that and to say, hey, you know, I helped make a difference today. So those are always feel-good stories that you can't help when you see that kid smile at you, and to be called coach and those things. That's a sacred title, right? To be called
Absolutely.
coach, it's awesome. But one of my favorite things, and I think this will stick with me throughout my entire career, is I'm a big fan of the TV show Parks and Recreation and Leslie Knope and in our field of Parks and Recreation, right? So when we got to build that park for our community, that stands out to me as one of the highlights of my career so far. I've been in Parks and Recreation since 2004, 12 years full-time, and to be able to be that involved in the process and have the community input that we had in that process, we went out to the community with 4 different designs and allowed the community to pick which design they wanted, you know, and to get out there, get the community involvement, go to all the schools, go to all the civics clubs, and then also once we selected which design we wanted, to take that same process and now choose the color palette that we did. And all of that culminating in a community build there, where the community came out and helped build the structure. You didn't just get to select it, you know, you weren't just a process of the decision making. We got to build that park. So that's something that stuck with me, and to be a history of that park, whether I'm here or not, I can always look back and say, hey, I helped bolt that slide together, or hey, you know, the community came out and helped build this and put the placards. And if you go to that park, there's little little insect placards all hidden around the park. I went out there one day with a handful of them, and I talked to the kids. I said, hey, you guys want to help me hide these on the park? Who better to hide the things than the kids who are going to use them? So getting the input and getting the involvement from the community on that project was one of my highlights. Not to mention, it's the first playground Cottonwood has put in 25 plus years. So that alone is a highlight to me. And I know we've got a lot of other great things in Parks and Recreation coming up. And thank you to our City Council, who has shown that they support Parks and Recreation and prioritizing that way of life in Cottonwood, and our city administration with Mr. Corbin and Mr. Rodriguez, and the support we get on all those projects and things like that. It's really fun. But like Travis was saying, I really enjoy Halloween. That's my favorite holiday out of the year. So that trunk or treat was phenomenal. I really had a blast with it. I really enjoy all of our Christmas programs we do. Giving back to those people. The Letters from Santa program, I think, is just a wonderful program to be able to have kids come in, drop that letter, and have it mail out to Santa. But gentlemen, this last minute, give us another just quick thought. One of the events that you guys really enjoyed participating in this year.
I think one I enjoyed would be one with the Easter egg hunt. Being able to kind of be a part of that. We had kind of booth set up in the gymnasium, and seeing if people be able to take a ticket, go to each one, win prizes. Come away with not just treats, but maybe a stuffed animal here or there, and then to be able to go into the pool and kind of go on that egg hunt was one I like to be a part of, being able to see that. Absolutely. And Bruce, in this last 30 seconds, you got another one that you want to give a shout out to?
You know, outside of mine, I enjoyed going to the basketball camp. My girlfriend's kids, they participated in that. And just seeing all the kids there in a long line to get the t-shirt the first day, and you know, that's what it's about. So I enjoyed seeing that come together. Thought you guys did a great job.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys again, and thank you to the community who come out and make these programs special for us, and the kids that get involved in it. I want to remind you, don't go anywhere. Make sure you stay tuned and jump back in with us on this last section, because we're going to be talking about the fun and exciting stuff we have coming up. So hang in there with us. We'll see you back here in just a minute. This is another episode of Inside Cottonwood, and I'm your host, Jak Teel. We'll catch you back here in a second.
Terrifying jobs, high-flying linemen, take 3.
Josh, this is an absolutely terrifying job. Why do you do it?
It's a very demanding job, but very rewarding and exciting.
How much energy are you actually working with up there?
500,000 volts of electricity.
It's definitely not my line of work. Does anything shock you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
Welcome back, Cottonwood. This is another episode of Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Jak Teel, Parks and Recreation Director with the City of Cottonwood. And we've been on the air now for a little bit, and I'm with Travis Wilson and Bruce Jurecki. And this segment, gentlemen, we're going to talk about all the fun and exciting things we have coming up for people, whether that's immediately to finish out 2021 or what's coming up to start the new year in 2022. One of the big things we've got coming up right away is we've got our New Year's Eve program coming out here on December 31st, right? Travis, give us a little bit about our New Year's Eve program. What can people expect, and why should they get out there?
So we're normally we keep the rec center open till 8. New Year's Eve we're closing at 5, and we're going to be holding the event from 6 to 10 that night. We'll have kind of games for the kids, games for the family, cotton candy. We're going to have a rock wall. The rock wall is going to be open. The swimming pool is going to be open as well. So there'll be a lot to do kind of between that time, and then we have in our gymnasium we're going to, as a heart of wine country, We've got kind of a grape drop is what we call it with our balloons. So we'll have that in the gymnasium, and right kind of in line with the ball drop in New York, we're going to have that happen. That way people can get home, get their kids to bed, celebrate their own New Year's Eve. But that's something at the rec center we're going to have. And I encourage you guys all to come out to it. It's going to be one where kind of closing out the new year and or closing out the last year and welcoming the new year. What better way to do it than with the community, being involved with one another and doing that.
Absolutely, Travis, and that's what Parks and Recreation is about, is bringing the community together. We're community focused, trying to get people involved and active and engaged, and doing that at the Recreation Center is a big purpose of us, because that's where the connections happen. But I want to touch on that real quick. So the facility, we are closing at 5 o'clock that night, so we can host this special event from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And Travis, the Recreation Center is typically a membership facility, but what are we doing to make sure that the community can come out that night? Are we charging things, or is it going to be a free event this year?
So kind of similar with, I guess, the Breakfast with Santa that we're going to hold this weekend, it's going to be a free event to the community members.
Absolutely.
Come
That's
in,
awesome.
and it's a great way. You can even see the facility yourself if you aren't a member. That way you can see. Maybe it will gain your interest, and you'll look forward to being able to become a part of not just a gym, but you're a part of a community. When you come to the gym, that's kind of what we're pushing for. Is it's not your average gym. It's a part of the team, part of the community.
Absolutely, and I'm personally really excited for the balloon drop. In 2019, we did our first New Year's Eve event. In 2020, we had to take it off, and we're bringing it back this year. In 2019, we did a standard balloon drop where there's just every color of balloon. But as we try to tie things into the city of Cottonwood and what it means to be the heart of Arizona's wine country, all those balloons this year are going to be purple, and we're calling it the name drop, so it ties in with our brand. And this event wouldn't be possible without a lot of our sponsors here. So Walmart actually stepped up big, and they're donating all the refreshments for the community, helping us keep this program free. We don't have to do all those expenses, which allows us to now offer this opportunity as a free event for the city of Cottonwood. But not just that, we've got another big sponsor here in the room, and I'd like to hand it over to Bruce and Showtime Sportz. You guys are helping do a bunch of programmed activities that night at the Recreation Center as well. So first off, thank you guys for stepping up, doing that for us, and talk a little bit about maybe some of the things you guys might do over there. What can the community expect?
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having us. Thanks for letting us be a part of it. So we'll be out there. We're still ironing out all the details, but we'll have things like dodgeball. Probably continuous game of that. The kids and adults can jump in and duck and dodge. And then we're going to figure out some other games that we can do throughout the night. We'll have some free giveaways and stuff like that, and we'll have all our literature out there so they can see of all the upcoming events for 2022.
Awesome.
And so we're going to have a good time. You had me sold at the 10 o'clock New Year's because I'm an early to bed kind of guy, so we're excited.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we chose 10 o'clock is we really want to make sure it's family oriented. So getting those families in there and getting those kids able to celebrate, but then getting them back home in their bedtime. And then if those parents want to ring in the New Year's at midnight, have at it. We'll have some Martinellis there provided by Walmart, and we'll be able to all toast the New Year's at 10 o'clock. And if you'd like to go home and have another toast at midnight, you're certainly welcome to do that. That's one of the main priorities of us doing that event at 10. So that event's really, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun one, but that's not the only thing we've got coming up. We've got Breakfast with Santa December 18th. That's another free event, and again, we aren't able to do these events all the time without the support of our community. And I can't say enough how supportive Jennifer Griffin and the State Farm office here in town are of this program. She fully funded this event so that way we can offer it as a free event to our community. So we'd love to give a shout out to the State Farm office of Jennifer Griffin and her support for our community. Bruce, we talked a little bit earlier, and I said, hey, hold on that. We're going to talk about that later. You've got some really fun, exciting stuff that maybe Cottonwood is not used to. What's this word I hear about an NFL camp?
So we have a camp coming to Cottonwood. My brother actually plays for the Arizona Cardinals. He's on the practice squad there, and he's going to come up and hang out in Cottonwood with us for a day and hang out with these kids and sign autographs and take pictures. you know, and teach him a little bit, and just basically lend his presence to us up here. We don't get that much.
Yeah.
You know, if you're down in Phoenix, it's a little more available, but up here it's not. So, and on top of it, we're going to put together a better camp. I mean, this camp is going to rock. It's going to rock. And a couple months after that, the end of March, my brother and I were going to do an event in Phoenix as well, where NFL guys play quarterback for kids, and it's going to be a tournament. And so that's going to be a lot of fun too. You get to catch passes from NFL players. We'll see who's there. I know of a couple Cardinals coming, so yeah, that's going to definitely rock as well.
That's awesome. Well, my hips aren't as fluid as they once were, but I think I got a couple of plays in me to run some cornerback back there. I still got some shutdown in me. I think I can make it work.
See?
Jack Island has a ring to it.
Jack Island, yeah. I'll leave that one alone. But yeah, you're right.
Well, I'm glad we're able to sit here and joke about stuff. But Bruce, real quick in the last minute, talk to us about your basketball program. You've got that coming up. How can kids register for that and get involved in our upcoming basketball program?
Yeah, so that's coming up. We're going to start February 22nd. We've changed things to work around Mean Machine flag football and stuff. So we're going to play on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings. And the kids can register. Parents, you guys can register your kids now online at Showtime Sportz with a Z.com. Just click on the basketball flyer and follow the prompts, and we'll get them registered. And kids will be placed on teams. We'll have a draft and everything, and then we'll kick it off. And this year's going to be great too. We're indoors.
Yeah.
We're indoors, and
that's at the Cottonwood Recreation Center.
At the Cottonwood Rec. Yeah, that's the only place we want to be. And so we're going to be inside Tuesday and Thursday evenings, February to the end of March, and we'll end right before the baseball season, so nobody will miss any baseball games as well.
Absolutely. And so, gentlemen, that wraps up our show for us today. Thank you guys for coming out. That's not all the things we have going on. There's so many other opportunities to get involved. So if you're looking for opportunities, make sure you hit www.cottonwoodaz.gov, jump on our Parks and Recreation tab, see everything we've got going there, and also make sure you stop by that Showtime Sportz with the Z.com website so you can check out all the fun things Bruce and Showtime Sportz are doing. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you guys. If I don't get an opportunity to say it again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. I know I'll see you both out there at our New Year's event, so we'll ring in the New Year's together, and I can't think of a better way than doing it with you two. Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Cottonwood. Happy New Year's. We're hoping to see you here soon. I've been your host, Jak Teel, the Parks and Recreation Director with the City of Cottonwood. Have a great time.